He was known as the Samoan Beast. The Norman, Oklahoma native was a veteran. He is a former Reality of Wrestling heavyweight champion, a two-time River City Wrestling champion. He held the NWA Texas title twice, and he held the NWA Oklahoma title. And that's literally just the tip of the iceberg. Michael Faith wrestled all over the world. He wrestled for All Japan Pro Wrestling, and he was a regular, an attraction, a draw for NWA Southwest. He went by many names. Kid Extreme, Red Dragon, but I think of all those, the most important was Dad. Michael Faith passed away on Tuesday, and I know that he's going to be missed. He's going to be missed by his kids. More so than anyone else, he's going to be missed by his family. But his friends and his fans over the years who've grown to respect the 300-pound Largeador. It's what we called him about 10 years ago. I was lucky enough to have Michael Faith join my podcast in its early days, like I said, about 10 years ago. And he was getting ready to challenge the then NWA National Champion, Phil Shatter. It was at the Red River Rivalry show in NWA Southwest. I wish I knew Michael better. I wish I had a better relationship with him, because I know he was kind, and I know that many people loved and respect him. I mean, with that being said, I had nothing but respect for the man. He came onto a podcast that really he didn't have to. He gave of his time when, again, he didn't have to. And I've always respected him for that, and I've always appreciated him for that. You know, I've seen his children grow via his Facebook page, and I've seen, you know, his progression in life, and he still had so much more to give. And it was too early. We're going to miss you, Michael Faith. We're going to miss you, and we wish you nothing but the best. And here it is in its entirety from the Alliance blog podcast. Here it is, our interview with Michael Faith from 2010. Thanks.
Hi, I'm a helpful Southern California Honda person, and recently we've been doing random acts of helpfulness, like surprising a deserving dad with a brand new grill and helping give back to our veterans. And during the Honda Summer Spectacular event, we can help you too, with a great deal on a reliable award-winning Honda, like the Accord, the 2018 North American Car of the Year. Click the dealer locator link to find a dealer near you, and go to SoCalHondaDealers.com to suggest a random act of helpfulness for someone you know.
Blog Talk Radio.
You are tuned in to Alliance Wrestling Radio.
Just like the handsome man said, you are tuned in to Alliance Radio. I'm your host, Jay Cal. This is a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. Again, welcome to Alliance Radio. We'll have a great guest joining us momentarily. As a note, earlier this week, yesterday, we spoke to the great Kirby Mack, your new addiction to Kirby Mack, the Crazy K, and Chance Prophet, NWA Dogpound Champion. That interview is available for download now on our page at blogtalkradio.com/Alliance Wrestling. And last week we spoke to Mach 1 Heavyweight Champion and the breakout star who will be on NWA Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, one Willie Mack. Again, both of those are available on the Blog Talk Radio website at blogtalkradio.com/Alliance-Wrestling. Also, good news. Yesterday I was talking that we were going to be scheduling some more interviews in the future. Like I said, we do have an interview coming up here in just a minute. But next week, after he defends his title in Manitoba, Canada, NWA World Heavyweight Champion Adam Pearce will make his triumphant return to AllianceRadio.com, or, well, just Alliance Radio. We don't have a website set up for the show yet, but you can visit Alliance-Wrestling.com for all of the entirety of the NWA. Adam's going to be defending that title in Canada. Unfortunately not an NWA sanctioned promotion, but the World Championship match is sanctioned, and it should be interesting. It'll be the second time that Adam's defended the title, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, WFX Wrestling uses a lot of guys from the NWA. You'll see Charlie Haas there sometimes. You'll see now you got Adam Pearce, and they're really coming into their own, picking up a lot of big names. So from our brothers up north, we salute you. So with that going on, and then why is my brain scattered today? Well, first off, let me play this for you, because I think we all should hear this before I bring on our guest.
It's been an honor, man, and I mean I tell guys that all the time. I grew up and watching Tully Blanchard, who was one of the main national champions. You had guys like him and Terry Taylor, and the list goes on. I mean, you can I can hype it up, but people really know that the national title, it means a lot. I mean, it is people look at it as one of the number one contenders for the world's heavyweight title with the NWA, and to me, it's an honor to be able to carry it. And to be able to, I guess, be on that list with all those guys that you just named, and there's others just on that list that we could go on and on about. But, it's an honor, man. I mean, it's something as a kid I dreamed about, holding titles. Obviously, every kid wants to be a champion. And for me to be able to live my dream and have the national title on that list of something I've done, it's awesome. And I hold it for a year. It's been over a year now. And
right.
It's good, man. I mean, I'm getting a chance to
That was Phil Shatter, who appeared on Alliance Radio back in April of this year. I apologize. He is the reigning national heavyweight champion, and my guest will be facing him real soon. Michael Faith has amazed fans from the Southwest to the Far East, wrestling in All Japan and with Vader's promotion in Japan. He's a former two-time NWA Texas Champion. The Largeador is known for a combination of power and speed. He can put you out with a lionsault or a powerbomb. And on Sunday, October 2nd, in Atlas, Oklahoma, for NWA Southwest, wrestling is going to have the River Rivalry, the Red River Rivalry. Phil Shatter will be defending the National Heavyweight Championship, the NWA National Heavyweight Championship, against my guest, NWA-OK Oklahoma Champion, Michael Faith. Having technical difficulties here, bear with me. Welcome to the show, Michael. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
Good, man. Hey, thanks for coming on Alliance Radio.
Well, thanks for letting me come on here and talk a little bit.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know who Michael Faith is, and like I said in the introduction, he's been a standout in NWA Southwest for a few years now. Was the NWA Texas Champion, won the title back in 2009 from Kevin Northcutt, and an injury to your leg kind of took you out of action for a while. When you did come back to the NWA Southwest, you regained that championship. What has that title meant to you in the past? I mean, I know you're the Oklahoma champion right now, but what did the NWA Texas title mean to you?
But getting the Texas title kind of solidified me in Texas as one of the most dominant big guys in Texas, because up until that point in time, all I'd done is flutter around wrestling for promotions. And, I got the opportunity to go to Japan, and shortly thereafter I got contacted to wrestle for the Texas title. I took the opportunity and ran with it. I got the title. Unfortunately, like you said, though, had an accident at my house. I ended up injuring my leg and had to have the title taken from me. But as soon as I was able to come back and get a shot at it, I took it, and I defeated Chad Thomas for it in my first shot, getting it. So it's meant a lot to my career because it helped me get a lot more respectable. It helped me get a lot more respect with it.
And it helped build your credibility. Obviously, a title held by guys like, when I talked to Phil Shatter about that, the national championship, you could talk about the Texas championship and all the names who've held that title. We've got guys like Hot Stuff Hernandez, who's wrestling in TNA right now. Again, Kevin Northcutt, who took that title after his time as Texas champion, went on to become an NWA Tag Team Champion before coming back and winning that Texas title again. And even going back as far as the Texas Championship roots with, the Von Erich family and really all the way back to the DiBiase family. The Texas title is one of the most prominent titles in the National Wrestling Alliance, and you're a guy who's held that belt twice.
Yeah, that helped a lot with my credibility because, like you said, all the names that you mentioned, the DiBiase, the Von Erichs, I mean, to me, growing up watching the Von Erichs, I always wanted, that's what made me want to wrestle was watching them. And just, getting the opportunity to hold a belt that they held as well was a great honor for me. So
now, when you started, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so when you started your career, and I believe, and I could be mistaken, it was back in '98. Am I right on that?
99, March of 99.
March of 99. You started training. The information I have, I don't think is accurate, but I believe you started training out in Texas, right?
No, I actually started training in Oklahoma with a guy named Tom Jones.
Tom Jones?
Yes, Tom Jones, New Mid-South Wrestling. That's the name that they were going by at that point in time. But, I started training with a guy named Tom Jones. Shortly thereafter, I actually did do some wrestling shows for NWA Southwest in 99, 2000, where I got to wrestle guys like Hernandez and all of them, Action Jackson or Perry Jackson. I got to be in the ring with all those guys, and it let me know that I wasn't really ready yet. So I went back and started training some more and got a lot more training under my belt before I tried to come back and go back into the NWA.
And so when you did your training, again, I don't think you'll be too mad at me at saying this. You're not a little guy, but you do a lot of those high-flying style maneuvers. Was that just a goal of yours, or was that with the encouragement of your trainer, or how did that come about?
Well, when I first started wrestling, I was actually obviously I'm 375 now, but when I started, I was only about 240, 250. And I was able to do all of the cruiserweight style moves that were already out there. And so they were like, you should really use those moves to help yourself win and everything. So I started honing all of those. Now, as I got larger, I lost a few of those moves. But I was able to keep some of the more devastating ones like the lionsault, the moonsault off the top, the suicide dive over the top rope to the floor. I'm still able to do a lot of those. But at the same time, now with the size that I have, I'm also able to put in a lot of the big power moves. So, they did. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. A lot of another thing that a lot of people don't focus on though, because they all see my size and they think about the ability to fly around the ring like the little guys, and also the ability to do the big power moves. Is I have a background in technical wrestling as well, so it's not just like one-sided. I've also trained in doing a lot of other things, especially in my time of going to Japan. I got to train with some of the Japanese wrestlers. I also got to train with Two Code Scorpio and guys like that who helped me hone in a lot more of my technical stuff as well.
And I'm glad you brought up the Japanese wrestling because, when a lot of guys think about who Michael Faith is in the ring, a lot of people make the comparison to you and Vader, combining power with the ability to, hit those aerial moves like a moonsault, or I don't think I've ever seen Vader hit a lionsault, but the comparisons are there that you guys are big and agile, which is kind of like a hybrid in wrestling. You don't see that too often, and last year, and I believe this year too, you had an opportunity to work with Vader in Japan, correct?
Yes. Well, I've made 8 trips to Japan in the last 2.5, 3 years, and every single one of them I did wrestle for Vader. And he has been very instrumental in helping me to move from just, to really put everything together as a big guy, because I've been trained by guys that were smaller. And everybody that, so you learn a lot of the smaller guys. So you don't really learn how to make it, put it all together as the big guys do, like Vader and Bam Bam and Stan Hansen. All your big guys, they really, working with Vader a lot, he taught me how to put everything together and make it work a lot better.
That's awesome. And as a fan, when you were little Michael Faith and not the not the pro wrestler you are today, I'm sure, like me, you would turn on your TV and watch, WCW Saturday Night, watch Vader just destroy somebody in the ring, or, even watch him in WWE, Vader bombing Gorilla Monsoon. Was he an inspiration to you growing up as a wrestler? I mean, obviously, like you said, you were a smaller guy back then, but was he an inspiration to you when you were learning the ranks?
Well, actually, when I was little watching wrestling, it was WCCW, World Class, and WWF, because I was, and letting my age out a little bit, I'm a little bit older than most of the other guys around, so not much, but you know what I'm saying. But as I, later in my high school years is whenever Vader started really getting bigger in WCW and WWE and everything. And in all honesty, from a fan viewpoint, I actually didn't like him because, he was always the bad guy. And I was always, I was a young kid. So, most of the people I looked up to at that point in time were guys like Sting and the Steiner brothers and the Road Warriors. I mean, granted, the Road Warriors are big guys, and the Von Erichs and all that. So, but later on, whenever I got a little bit more mature and I started learning pro wrestling and getting into it, that's whenever I started to respect more of what those guys had taught and what those guys have done, like Vader and everything. And when I met him, it was just a really great experience because, he actually sat down with me and talked to me for a while. And that was like a year or so before I actually even went to Japan for him. He sat down and talked to me for a while, and then, about a year later, whenever he called me up and asked me if I wanted to go, and I was like, yeah. So, but throughout that whole time frame, I've made a visit to his house and sat down and talked to him, and he, showed me some tapes of his and what to do, and he actually sat down with my tapes and watched my tapes and said, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, tweak this, tweak that. So, I mean, that's one of the best experiences that I've had so far with pro wrestling, because most wrestlers today don't get the opportunity to sit down with guys like that and actually go through their tapes and, have the veterans, the guys who pretty much paved this way, actually sit down and say, hey, listen, why don't you try doing this and doing that instead of this and that, just tweaking it around and showing you what you could do to make it all better.
Right. Well, and again, when you've been going to, first off, how could you say no to Vader if he asked you to do anything, right?
Yeah.
But on your trips to Japan, like you mentioned, you've been there 8 times, and I think you're not exclusively wrestling just with Vader. You've also been in All Japan, and I saw that you, on occasion, you've teamed up with former TNA wrestler, and I believe he's in the WWE now, Lance Hoyt. And as a tag team in Japan, when they call you the Gaijins, you're the outsiders, how was that adapting to, say, the audiences that you worked in front of in the Southwest?
Well, the thing about the Japan crowd is that they're a lot more, the thing they tell you to not get discouraged about is they're a lot more quiet. They react better to the pinfalls and the submissions and the breaking of pinfalls and submissions more so than their moves. But on the offset to that is being a guy my size, when you do some of the moves you do, you get quite a reaction out of the crowd. I mean, not like you would here where you get the big chanting and everything, but you'll get the big ooh and stuff like that. Like, for instance, I wrestled a kid from Germany over there, his name at the time he was wrestling was Big Man Walter. Now I think he just wrestles as Walter Hahn. But he's about 6'4" and about 325, and he jumped off the top rope for a crossbody, and I caught him. And that got like one of the biggest reactions of my entire time over there was catching this big, huge guy off the top rope in a crossbody. I, caught him, gave him a big slam, whatnot. But so that's the difference between the crowd is they'll react, but just not in the way that you're used to. So it's a little bit hard because you're used to feeding off of the energy from the crowd in the States. Over there, you don't really get that, so you've got to make it yourself. So it's a little bit challenging. That, and it's a lot faster paced over there. Those guys don't stop.
Right. And that's one of the big differences they always talk about in Japan is that the style is so much more fast-paced. And, again, which I'm sure is a credit to your style of wrestling. A big guy who can make it in that style of wrestling surely can translate into the United States as something that's impressive to see in the ring. In your time in Japan, like I said, you had to wrestle with Vader's group, and you taken on a lot of top name competition. I was looking at some of the names, and I saw like former 01 heavyweight champion Tako Omori. I'm probably butchering his name there.
No, it's Takao Omori.
Takao Omori. See, I'm butchering his name. Thank God he doesn't come on the show, or else he might axe bomb me to death. So Takao Omori, I know that you've been in the ring with, like you said earlier, like Too Cold Scorpio.
Yeah.
And,
that was...
when you... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay. And then also on one of your trips, and I saw this on your MySpace blog, you mentioned that you got to meet Lance Cade when you were out in Japan. And, unfortunately, Lance Cade, who recently passed away, was a member of the Voodoo Murderers, which was also a stable that you were in All Japan, correct?
Yes. I
know that was at different...
Huh?
I know that was at a different time. I know you guys weren't in the stable together, but I know that you guys have both spent time in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, whenever I went to Japan... the last two trips I made over there, or the last trip I made over the last two shows, Lance was actually on both those shows with Trevor as his tag partner. And getting to meet him was really a good thing because, I got to spend a lot more time with him than what I thought, more so on the airplane ride home. But while we were over there, some of the things that I was doing wrong that they were trying to teach me, Lance actually went into the ring and he goes, before he went to his match, he goes, "Hey, watch what I'm doing today." And I watched his whole match, and afterwards he's like, "Did you see how I did this? Did you see how I did that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, well that's what they're trying to tell you, in doing that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he actually helped me with some of my moves and stuff as well. Unfortunately, once I won the NWA Texas title, I came back here, or when I came back here and I won the Texas title from Chad, my next opponent was supposed to be Lance.
Right.
And unfortunately, he passed away, and I ended up wrestling Charlie Haas for it. But I was really looking forward to getting in there with Lance because of what he had taught me in Japan. I wanted to see how well that would translate into a match against him, knowing that he knew what he had already taught me. So.
Yes. Well, and it would have been interesting not only on the standpoint of, for a brief moment, student versus teacher type match, but also the fans out here, in Texas and the NWA Southwest and the fans all around the NWA, seeing a big guy like Lance Cade taking on a big guy like Michael Faith, and two guys who, can move around the ring and a lot faster paced than a lot of, would-be big guys in the ring. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, and he's surely missed. He was actually on an episode of Alliance Radio earlier this year, and he was so it's kind of sad to hear him say how happy he was with life and how happy he was to be out of the WWE and being able to wrestle the way he wanted to, and I was looking forward to your guys' match, and unfortunately that's a match we're not going to be able to see, but it was definitely I'm happy to hear that you guys had a relationship, that you got to talk to him and he helped you along in your career. And But talking about the Texas title, and I don't mean to bring up a sore subject with you, Charlie Haas, the man who beat you for that belt. Of course, you were expecting to wrestle somebody else. You're expecting to wrestle a Lance Cade and a different style, a different match, and Ken Taylor and the NWA Southwest group brought in Charlie Haas, the world's greatest wrestler, to face you in the ring. How did that throw you off? And do you think if you had another shot at him, you could bring that title back?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, it threw me off a little bit because you got to understand you're going from a guy who's, 6'5", I believe Lance is 6'5", 6'6", something like that, and he's about 280, to a guy who's
right.
6'1", 245, but looks like he's chiseled out of stone. I got in there with Charlie. Going into it, I was thinking, okay, well, he's a smaller guy. I'll be able to throw him around. He's a lot stronger than what you would think.
Right.
He was actually able to push me around a little, and that threw me off a little. So about halfway through the match, I had to change what I was doing. But at the same time, he caught me right there at the end in that House of Pain, which I wasn't too worried about the House of Pain because, it's a submission move where he's got to pull my legs up over my head backwards. I was like, with my size, I'm 375. There's no way he's going to be able to do that. So if he tried, I figured I could just get out of it. Yeah, no, he managed to get it in there. So it's a little bit of a sore subject, but at the same time, it was a lot of fun to get in there with him to be able to wrestle somebody who's been at WWE and see how well I compare up to them. And granted, I came out on the short end of that stick, but I think if I got another shot at him, I think I would know better this time and not to underestimate his abilities in the ring for the next time around.
Well, and speaking of Charlie Haas, a couple of weeks ago he puts out a video basically setting his eyes on NWA National Champion Phil Shatter, sets his sights on NWA North American Champion The Sheik, NWA World Champion Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and but somehow, some way, after you lose the Texas Championship and then you win the Oklahoma Championship, the board of directors appoints you into a match with Bill Shatter, the national champion, the same champion that Charlie Haas had basically called out on a YouTube video, and you get thrusted into that match. Now, first off, that's got to be a pretty big deal for you, and then also, is this one of the biggest title matches of your career?
Well, yeah, actually, I would say that the national title is probably the biggest title match I've had so far. I mean, unfortunately, while I was in Japan, I didn't get a shot at any of their world titles or anything. But I've been in some big high-profile matches, like you said before. I've been with like Scorpio and another guy, one of the top guys over there, Satoshi Kojima. Takao Mori, Aki Bono, which that was odd. I've never been that small to somebody in the ring before.
I was going to say, that guy must have dwarfed you in the ring.
Well, if you get a chance, you look at my MySpace deal, there's a picture of me and him standing in the ring, and I'm standing right in front of him looking up at him, and you can see how much smaller I am compared to him. But so being in the high-profile matches, I mean, I've wrestled guys, that have been on the top. I've wrestled guys like Buff Bagwell. I've been tag partners with Big Van Vader and Perry Saturn. I've been in the ring with guys like Lance Hoyt, Vance Archer now, or whatever, that's what he's going by now.
Yeah.
So being in the ring with somebody that's on that high of a level isn't the part that's daunting. It's the fact of going for the national title and trying to get a belt that held that in that high of regard. That is actually what's kind of daunting whenever you look at it, because you're not just going for another state title. You're going for a title that if I win, I'll be defending it all over the entire nation. It'll step my game up one step higher.
Again, if you guys want to take a look at the pictures that Michael Faith is talking about, or if you just want to see some of the cool shots he has from him wrestling in Japan and in NWA Southwest and really wrestling everywhere, you want to check out myspace.com/Michael Faith, and you could also follow him on Twitter at twitter.com @Michael Faith. and that's MICHAELFAITH, in case we have anybody who is illiterate and can't spell.
You wouldn't believe how many people mess up the name Michael when they spell it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you get in the show all the time, and well, I'm sure you get it all kinds of different ways.
Well, the funnier one is when they call me, because one of my nicknames is the Largeador.
Yes, exactly.
And it was just, that name gets messed up all the time. I had, you know who Mike McGurk is, female ring announcer from WWE. Somebody wrote the name down on her paper, but they made it to where it didn't look like it said Largeador. So when she read it off, she said the large door. So, you know, they came off. Well, the funny thing about the name is it was given to me like, I don't know, about 9 years ago from a guy in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He said that I wrestled like a luchador, but I was too big, so he said that I was more like a largeador. So that's how that name got stuck to me, and I actually didn't start using it until about a year before I went to Japan because everybody kept bringing it up, so it just kind of got stuck, and I ended up using it from then on.
Well, it's a fitting name, like you said. I don't know too many guys who are, you know, over 300 pounds who are able to hit like a lionsault or a moonsault. And again, those aren't the moves you typically expect out of a guy your size. So, Largeador sounds great. The large door, I wouldn't be so happy with. So,
it happens.
Right. Well, this Sunday, down in your home state, you're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry. I said Sunday, huh? Yeah, you're right. Thank you for correcting me. This Saturday, champ, you're going to be down in Oklahoma. It's the Red Rivalry. Am I getting the name right?
It's the Red River Rivalry, Oklahoma versus Texas, because right,
and the game's earlier in the day, right?
Yeah, it's Oklahoma versus Texas. It's a big deal every year. I mean, if the schools actually fight over whether or not it gets played in Oklahoma or in Texas. Every year they fight about it because of the amount of revenue I mean, you wouldn't understand it. I've lived in Norman, Oklahoma for a long time, and that place gets packed on that day. You know, if it's there, and if it's not there, if it's in Texas, you don't even want to try to drive down Friday or Saturday because the entire highway will be backed up for, 10, 15 miles, people trying to get down to Texas to watch it.
Yeah, no doubt in the state of Texas and in Oklahoma, football is king, and wrestling is right there with it. And you guys are going to be running the show at the Oklahoma State College. Where did my notes go? Jeez, I sound like an idiot here. I had everything written down, and now I can't seem to find it. But you are going to be defending that title. I'm sorry, not defending. You're going to be actually challenging Phil Shatter for that national title, and there's also going to be the women's championship is also going to be defended, and it's going to be a big show out there in Oklahoma. And are you looking forward to getting an opportunity to challenge for that national title in your home state?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a total different experience because I don't know if you've been on the, in the different areas for wrestling, as much as it, like everybody says, it's different from going from America to Japan for the crowd-wise. It's different going from the East Coast to the Mid to the West Coast. The crowds are different just the same as up there. So I know what I'm in for. I know what to expect from the crowd. He doesn't. And another thing he's got to understand is he's coming to Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. They're going to be for me 100%. So he's going to go out there, and that's more than likely going to throw him off his game because if, even being the national champion, you're wrestling, although it's not in my hometown, you're still wrestling me in my home state. They're going to be 100% behind me. So he's going to have a whole new thing coming at him, as well as I don't know if he's ever been in the ring with anybody like me. So.
Well, and I follow Shatter closely, and I'm going to tell you that I haven't seen anyone like you standing across from him in the ring. Now, he has challenged or taken the challenges of some pretty big men in the ring, like Michael Judas and Again, he stepped into the ring with the NWA World Champion prior to his winning that title and actually defeated him. But you're right, he's never had to step into Oklahoma to take on the Oklahoma Champion. And it's a scary thought. If I was Phil Shatter, I'd be worried right now at the Red River Rivalry, which is going to be October 2nd. Again, the doors open up at 6:30 p.m. The bell time's at 7:30 p.m. The main event will be the National Heavyweight Championship being defended by Phil Shatter against Michael Faith. Also on the card, Tasha Simone is going to defend her title against Lorena. In the Texas Junior title match, Jasper Davis is going to take on the champ, Kevin Douglas. There's a lot of title matches on the card. Aerial Assault will challenge Pretty Flawless for the Texas tag titles. And then the Texoma title, Cody Jones is taking on Dane Griffin, who is the reigning champ. And then there's also going to be some Lucha Libre on the card. So, again, if you guys want to check that out, it's going to be at the Western Oklahoma State College Gymnasium. The address is 2801 North Main in Atlas, Oklahoma, 73521. And, again, the tickets, if you buy them in advance, $9. Can't beat that. Can't even go to the movie theater for that. And if you wait till the day of the event, they are $12 at the door. Still one of the best bargains in pro wrestling today. You're not going to find tickets much cheaper than that. Phil Shatter. Go ahead.
I was just going to say something about, you ran down the list of the people on that show, and I'm going to tell you, I wrestled, mostly in Oklahoma and Texas, and I've wrestled in a match with almost every single person on that card with the exception of the ladies and the luchadors. I can tell you right now that, the lady on there, Lorena, the one challenging for the title, I've never wrestled her, but she was also trained by Tom Jones, my trainer.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about her as well.
Well, from what I understand, I've met her a few times, and she's actually worked with me and Dane Griffin in our group. And one of the things I've heard about her is she's not only a pro wrestler, but she's also an MMA fighter. So she brings a whole different game to Tasha. I mean, something that Tasha's probably never been in the ring with, because most women wrestlers, they're women wrestlers. They don't do the ground and pound, the viciousness of an MMA fighter. So she's got to worry about that. The Cody Jones and Dane Griffin match is probably going to be, a great match. I've wrestled both of them, and had great matches. As a matter of fact, Dane Griffin was the NWA Oklahoma Champion. And although we, in a way, we're actually partners. I mean, not tag partners, but we're together in our little group. But the thing about it was, it got brought up by the NWA Oklahoma Commission that he had to put that title on the line in what they called a fatal four-way tournament. And what it was, basically, we all had to wrestle one match to get into the fatal four-way match. We all did that. What ended up being, I ended up winning mine, Dane won his, and the fact when he won his, he actually won the Texoma title from Cody Jones. And then Bad Rad Michaels won his, and the Texas Junior Champion, Kevin Douglas, won his. So we had quite a few people, we had the four of the top guys around in there going at it. Unfortunately for Dane, he got put out quick by Bad Brad, so it just left me in there with them, and I ended up pulling out the victory in the end over him with the lionsault.
And there it is, the lionsault. It keeps going back to that, right?
Yeah.
Again, that show is this Saturday, October 2nd, not Sunday. If you go Sunday, you're going to be disappointed. Make sure you're there Saturday, October 2nd. Again, it is a fundraiser for the Western Oklahoma State College softball team. So, make sure you get out there because it's going to help support the community. And plus, it's a great night of action. Again, you're going to see some guys. Michael Faith, he's not just a wrestler in the Texas and Oklahoma area. He travels to the Far East. He's a big-time pro wrestler. You got to get out there to check him out. Talking about Phil Shatter, and I know he's your opponent, and I know you've got your eyes set on him. He's a guy who, like you said, he doesn't just defend in his hometown of Charlotte, or I'm sorry, not Charlotte, but his home state of North Carolina, but he's also defended the title in Georgia and even out here in Hollywood in California, and he's defended the title in Pennsylvania. He's been as far out as Kentucky. When you step into the ring with him, again, he is entering enemy territory, but that's not something new for the champ. And he's a big guy. He isn't a pushover either. and like the folks who go out to see this match, they're going to be surprised when you've got like the immovable force against the unmovable object. It's going to be quite impressive to see you guys step into the ring with each other. What's your game plan to, you know, he's a power guy. He's not afraid to brawl in the ring. You know, he's been under the tutelage of guys like Tully Blanchard in Charlotte in North Carolina. What are your plans to, you know, take the title from him?
Mainly what I plan on doing is surprising him with the aerial stuff. I know he's expecting it, but the things I can do, you know, most people can't do. So, like you said, but one thing he's got to realize is that I have that technical background. So if he wants to fight and brawl, we can do that. I can brawl with the best of them. I can guarantee you this, though, he won't win a brawl with me. So if he wants to brawl, that's a mistake for him. But if he wants to get in there and mix it up technical style, then we can do that. I'll take him down. I can tap him out. I can flip on him. I can slam him. My main game plan is to break something quick. You know, take out his leg quick, take out his arm, back, something to that effect. Probably his back, to be honest with you. And once I get that weakened, I just keep drilling it and drilling it and drilling it until finally he can't take any more. So the main object is to like I said, focus on one body part, beat it down, tear it up so bad that he doesn't want to continue on.
Boy, that sounds like a pretty sound strategy to me. If the guy can't, if he can't move, he can't defend himself. If you take out his leg, he can't kick. If you take out his back, he can't walk. And again, this match is going to take place on October 2nd, this Saturday. You guys want to get out there to see the Oklahoma champ, support your champion as he takes on the national champion, Phil Shatter. Your career in the NWA has been, you know, pretty illustrious. I mean, you are a two-time Texas champion. What, you know, we talked about earlier when you won the Texas championship, it kind of brought Michael Faith to the next level, built some credibility for yourself. What would the national championship do for Michael Faith?
Well, the national champion will, like you said, you know, yeah, I've been to Japan, but it'll bring me up higher in the standings in America. Because going to Japan, it elevated me. Winning the Texas title elevated me more. Winning the Oklahoma title elevated me more. The national title will put me on the national level. I guess the easiest way to put it. It'll put me on that national level. It'll get me the exposure I need, and it'll bring me the opponents that will really challenge me and make me work harder and make me the best in this business. As my whole goal this entire time is to prove that I am the most dominant big man. And I've done that in Texas. I've done that in Oklahoma. I want to do it on a national level as well as the international level as well. But, you know, immediate goal is to win that title and put myself on the national level and elevate my status even higher.
And certainly a victory this Saturday would definitely do that. Now, you're known from your wrestling in stateside anyways, wrestling in Texas and Oklahoma. Is there a territory or a part of the U.S. you would like to apply your trade? Would you like where would you like to wrestle next? Regardless of whether you win the national championship, you're a guy who's going places, obviously, and pretty soon you're going to be able to pick and choose your dates a lot easier, at least stateside. Where do you see yourself going after Saturday, October 2nd against Phil Shatter?
What I'd like to do is get a little bit farther East Coast, and a little bit, farther on the West Coast. I've made it as far as Arizona and Colorado, and I've made it as far as, Missouri and Illinois, and Louisiana, but I want to go farther to the coast because there's a lot of talent there that I haven't got to wrestle yet. And in a lot of, like I said before, I want to be challenged every time I get in the ring. Once you've been wrestling in one area for a while, you've wrestled just about everybody. And you want to,
right.
If you want to make it in this business, you've really got to get out there. So my next goals would be to make it out to like California, New Jersey, New York, those areas, Philadelphia, because that's when you get you get more of a broad exposure to our craft, to learn
right.
more, to be better, so that I can take out, possibly go after Adam to get the world's title eventually. That would be my main goal.
And in case you guys are listening, Adam Pearce will be joining us next Monday after his defense in Canada with the WXF Wrestling. And I'm glad you bring that up because I recently read a tweet on Twitter from Shelton Benjamin who said it best. If you don't want to be world champion, and if you don't think you can be world champion, you should get out of the business. And it makes me happy to hear that Michael Faith has all the desire and passion to be the world champion of the National Wrestling Alliance. And again, a good start is taking a victory on Saturday from Phil Shatter, and of course building your brand from there. One thing we like to do here on Alliance Radio is I like to break it up a little bit. I know we're getting serious with talking about your career, and of course it's important, but I like to make light of celebrities. And well, is there anyone in the world of celebrity right now that Michael Faith would just like to pop right in the face?
I don't know.
Wow. I ask this question a lot, and I ask this question a lot to wrestlers, some of the most violent men on earth, and every time I ask it, no one's got an answer. Everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know."
Well,
There's got to be someone.
I do have one. It's just more of a generalization. I don't like paparazzi.
Fair enough.
I can't stand people like that. I mean, I understand journalism and all that stuff. I mean, I've been involved with it in the past and everything. But there's a point when you cross it, taking pictures of people's kids and bugging them. So, yeah, I mean, like if there was somebody I wanted to pop in the face, it'd probably be a journalist, or not a journalist, but a paparazzi. I can't stand those people when they bum rush people, taking pictures of them, bugging them. I hate that. Like one of my favorite movies is that movie Paparazzi, where they attack this guy, taking pictures of this guy, and he ends up killing half of them, or all of them, I think. But paparazzi is about the one thing that really irritates me the most is paparazzi, because there's when you're performing, and granted I've only been on a small level, but whenever you look at it on any level, even though you are putting yourself in the public limelight, you still have a private life, and that should be yours. You should be able to go to the beach and like you see these pictures of some of the stars, they go to the beach and they look all, they look funny because they're wearing Speedos and their bellies hanging out or whatever, and they make fun of them for it. I'm like, hey, the dude's trying to relax on his vacation, leave him alone.
Right.
And so to me, that's the part that bugs me. That's one thing that bugs me is paparazzi. So yeah, if I was going to pop anybody in the face, it'd probably be a paparazzi. I don't think I could ever handle them. My kids are like some of my kids are the most important thing to me. I have 2 daughters. I actually have a son that'll be born beginning of November, around November 1st.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. But that's one thing that I would not want somebody to invade is my private life, my family. That's one thing I have always kept separate from pro wrestling is my family life.
Right. Well, I'm with you there. I've got a 6-year-old myself, and if someone starts snapping pictures of her, and J-Cal's never going to be famous, but if someone starts snapping pictures of my daughter, that would certainly cause me to lose it and start swinging fists too. And I'm not the Largeador, so I hear what you're saying. So, again, the show is going to be October 2nd. I'm plugging away. I hope Ken Taylor's listening so he can hear us plugging it as much. It's going to be October 2nd. Again, you can get all the information at www.nwa-southwest.com. Again, there's like 6 matches, and 5 of them are title matches. We've got the Texoma title. I want to get that right. Cody Jones taking on the champ Dane Griffin. The Texas title match with Aerial Assault taking on Pretty Flawless, who are the champs. The junior title should be decided when Kevin Douglas, the champion, defends against Jasper Davis. The NWA World title match, who the Largeador is saying Lorena is MMA trained and ready to take Tasha Simone to task. And, of course, in the main event, the Largeador, Michael Faith, challenges the National Heavyweight Champion, Phil Shatter. You guys definitely have to get out to this event. Again, the tickets are only $9 when you buy them in advance. or $12 at the door. So make sure you get out there and support your Oklahoma champion and help him best the national champion.
Exactly.
So, again, the show is coming up on Saturday. What's your next booking? Where can the NWA faithful see you next?
My next one would be in the NWA Oklahoma show, November. I think it's November 13th. I'm not for certain. I know that they have another show set up for in October, I believe it. But basically, anytime you see NWA Oklahoma, I'll be there. You know, so that's my main home organization is NWA Oklahoma. I also do the NWA Southwest. I also go out to Amarillo for NWA Southwest PWF.
Right.
So, you know, if you see an NWA show going on in Texas or Oklahoma, there's a good possibility I will be there.
And NWA fans, if you're out there and you've seen the videos of Michael Faith, and if you haven't, again, check him out on MySpace, and you want to see this guy in your area, you know, bang your promoter, tell him that you want to see Michael Faith in your area, because, again, this is a guy who, you know, and it's not to denigrate anyone who just wrestles in the Southwest is still breaking through, but, you know, this is a guy who is honing his craft not only in stateside but also in Japan, and, you know, getting, you know, tips from Big Man Bader. You know, he's a talent that you got to see, and again, you can see him October 2nd. Michael Faith, I really appreciate your time today, and thank you for joining us on Alliance Radio.
Thanks for having me, and I hope everybody shows up Saturday to see me take the title from Phil Shatter.
You got it, champ.
All right, man.
All right, well,
thanks
for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that was Michael Faith. If you need him, again, you can follow Michael Faith on Twitter at Michael Faith, all one word, or check him out on MySpace, myspace.com/Michael Faith. Again, thank you for tuning in to Alliance Radio.